What's going on, everybody? Nope, that's not right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Chris Cain, and this is a cooking show. I think that's what we're fucking calling it. I have no idea. But anyways, today we're making Beef Wellington. If you never had Beef Wellington, you need to try it. And if you're a vegetarian or a vegan, you can have a squash Wellington or a carrot Wellington. I don't know. Figure it out. Anyways, Beef Wellington. Alright, so for Beef Wellington, you're gonna need a couple of simple things. You're gonna need Chateaubriand, which is just a center cut filet of beef. You're gonna need some thyme, garlic, shallots, mushrooms. So actually, there's a lot. I can't remember. Okay, you're gonna need filet, spicy mustard, mushrooms, garlic, shallot, thyme, prosciutto, puff pastry, egg, red wine, little black currant jam if you have it, a little truffle oil if you got it, and butter. That's about everything, I think. If I forgot something, I'll let you know while I'm cooking it. Obviously salt and pepper, I don't know how I forgot that. A little olive oil. All right, so the first step into the Beef Wellington is you're gonna get yourself a Chateaubriand cut, which is the center cut of a filet, and you're gonna season it up with salt and pepper. A little bit of kosher salt all the way around. Season generously, because it's a big piece of meat, it can handle it all the way around. Make sure you get the sides. Pep. Crack, pep. Pick it up and just dab it right into it. And I roll this along the plate as well to pick up any of that extra, and then boom. Seasoned perfectly. We're gonna sear that off. All right, so just get a pan and get it on medium-high heat and get some olive oil. Get a good amount in there. All right, this is good and heated up now. I'm just gonna toss this in and sear up all sides. Wow, did you see that? I almost grabbed the pan like a fucking idiot with my bare hands. And see how I tilt the pan and how it's able to get the sides like that. It's getting there. All right, don't forget to do the sides. So you just pick it up, plop it right down like that. A little more. Ugh. All right, you're gonna wanna hit it with some Dijon mustard right away, or horseradish. I can never say that, it's like Worcestershire sauce. Anyways, you're gonna wanna hit it immediately after it comes off the pan when it's still hot. All right, so the next step we're gonna be moving on to with this Beef Wellington is taking all these mushrooms, and it's called a duxelle, which is basically just like a mushroom paste that's gonna go around the beef. So I got some baby bell mushrooms here, and I've also got some shiitake mushrooms. Doing a little bit of a blend today. You know, I used to use my blender, and I'm so glad I don't use that anymore, because don't use a blender, use a food processor. Even though this one's small, it's just making a world of difference. Now that we have chopped up all of our mushrooms, I'm gonna set those to the side for just a second, and I'm gonna dice up a shallot. We're gonna chop up a little bit of garlic too to add to this. All right, next step is we're gonna throw the shallot and the garlic in a pan, but the thing is we're gonna be putting it into a cold pan, and the reason why we're putting it into a cold pan is so we don't burn anything. All right, now that that's starting to sizzle and cook just a little bit, I'm gonna add in the mushrooms. That's one thing you're gonna wanna add is a little bit of thyme. If you have some fresh thyme, that's great. Not dry thyme is totally fine. Just give it a little time, baby! Terrible dad joke, don't. So now that the it's cooked down, look how much, like, it's about half now, as you see all the water is cooked out of it. We're gonna just move that to a plate and let that kind of cool off for a few minutes. All right, so what you're gonna wanna do now is roll out a little bit of plastic wrap, or cling film, people in the UK call it. I don't fucking know, I call it plastic wrap around here. And we're gonna take some prosciutto, really thin slices of it. Man, when I say thin, this is so goddamn thin, I can barely get this fucking plastic off of it. Pretty much what we're gonna wanna do is we're gonna wanna lay it the width of the beef fillet. This better taste good, because getting it out of this packaging is a fucking mission. Well, it's not rocket science, bro. Just, there we go. So the prosciutto ham is very salty, so you don't want to add any salt to it, but what we're going to do is add a little bit of cracked pepper. All right, now that we got the prosciutto laid out, we're going to add the duxelle on top, followed by the beef. We're just going to put a thin layer, about 1/8 of an inch thick, across the whole thing here. Okay, now that we have the duxelle spread over the prosciutto at exactly 1/8 of an inch, no more, no less. You can measure it. Now we're going to add the beef and wrap this up. It's Everybody has their own way of like doing this, but I like to grab plastic wrap here and kind of move it. Cool, now that we have that all wrapped up in plastic wrap, I'm gonna take this and pop it in the fridge for about 30 minutes, let it harden up before we wrap it in puff pastry. Ah, don't drop it. Ooh, nice and firm, that's what I'm talking about. All right, here we go, last step of the Beef Wellington. We just pulled this out of the fridge and it's nice and firmed up now. We got the puff pastry. I'm gonna roll this out. Here's the thing, I don't have a rolling pin. Is that what it's called? Rolling pin? So, what do you use when you don't get a roller? You use a wine bottle. I don't know about you, but that looks pretty perfect to me. So before we wrap it, what I have in this bowl right here is 1 egg and a little bit of water. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna help kind of bind it all together, act as like a glue. So we're gonna get this guy out of the plastic. See that? It's all like perfectly put together. And then just like before, I like to grab the plastic wrap and just start to right to the edge. That's what I'm talking about. It's the shit I'm talking about. Kind of just fold these ends in a little bit. Kind of pinch it so it stays closed. Cool. Roll it up nice and tight. You pop it in the fridge for about 30 minutes. I got my oven turned on. It's at 350 degrees. This just looks like a fucking bean and cheese burrito, just straight up. You're gonna do an egg wash over the top of this, and all this does is just give it like that nice kind of golden shine to it that you want at the end. Back of the knife. And the last thing you're gonna wanna do before you put it in the oven is take some flake salt, not regular kosher salt, but flake salt, and give it a generous amount right on top, because it's gonna give it a nice crusty puff pastry. About 30 minutes, 35 to 135. All right, so now the Beef Wellington is in the oven cooking. I'm gonna put together the sauce. I've actually never made it before, but it's a black currant jam sauce. Black currant jam I've actually never heard of before, but I found the recipe online and it looked pretty good, so I'm gonna try it. Basically, it's that, beef broth, shallots, a little bit of butter, and let's just, see how this goes. And just get these just a little translucent, if I can talk again. I'm gonna let that reduce for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna add the black currant jam. Try your wine while you're cooking with it, okay? All right, now that this has been kind of boiling and reducing just a little bit, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of this black currant jam. We got another bad boy here.
That's right, had to make a contribution. Usually I come to the house and I drink his beer, eat his food, and I felt remiss.
So he's only doing one today.
Well, here's the thing. They're not paying us for this, okay? So you might have to block this out, or do we just go ahead with it? We drink American beer in America. Understand that.
Okay, so I just probed it, and it probed at 115. I want it to be at 130. A big misconception is that everybody pulls it out at 130 because that's where they want it to be, which is a medium rare. But they forget the residual heat is going to carry it over, so we need about 10 minutes after we pull it out for that residual heat to carry it over to 130. All right, so it's been about 40 minutes now at 350 degrees. This is done. I'm about to cut into it. And that is exactly how it's supposed to f***ing look. If it doesn't look like that, then you blew it. Throw it out, get rid of it. Actually, don't do that, eat it. But that's how it is supposed to look. A handful of f***ing homies in the room right now, so I was serving them up, but let's go ahead and try this. Don't even really need a knife when you get good filet.
That's incredible.
I guess I do know how to cook.